Okay, we're going to look at a new method to solve systems of equations using elimination method, the elimination method. And whereas substitution method dealt with substituting an expression for a variable, here we're going to eliminate a variable by multiplying, okay? All right, so the first thing you're going to do, step one says multiply, if necessary, one or both equations by a constant so that one pair of like terms has the same or opposite coefficients. And then you add or subtract the equations to eliminate one of the variables, solve the resulting equation, and then substitute that solution in for the other equation. All right, so blah, blah. Let's apply it. All right. So if I look at these equations, 3x plus 2y equals 4, and 3x minus 2y equals 4, if I add those together, looking at this, I got a plus 2y and a minus 2y. If I add these two equations together, these will cancel out by combining like terms. Okay, 2 minus 2 would leave me 0y. But I've got 3x plus 3x gives me 6x. Bring your equal sign down. And 4 plus negative 4 gives me 0. And then if I divide by 6, leaves me 1x equals 0 divided by anything is 0. So now I know that my x coordinate is 0 on my point of intersection. Now I can substitute the 0 for x in either one of these equations. So 3 times 0 plus 2y equals 4. So this is 0. Divide by 2. So y equals 2. So my solution is the ordered pair. X comes first, 0, 2. Okay, so what we did here, we eliminated one of the variables by adding, subtracting, and if necessary, we'll multiply. And we'll get to one of those in a minute. But you've got to have the same coefficients, one plus and one minus. Okay? All right, so let's look at this one. I've got a 10x, 3, that's negative 6, a negative 5. So I'm looking at these coefficients of my x, and I can look at the coefficients of the y. I don't have any coefficients that are the same. So I'm going to have to, so if they were the same, I'd just have to make one plus and one minus. But they're not the same, so I can, for my y's, I can multiply this times 2 and get positive 6 and cancel. Or I can multiply this by 2 and get negative 10. Well, I'd have to multiply by negative 2, wouldn't I? Negative 2 times negative 5 is positive 10 if I did that. So I could do either way. We're going to pick one, okay? So let's look at getting rid of my y's. Okay. So if I multiply this by 2, if I multiply that 3y by 2, then I'm going to get 6y, and then they could cancel out. But if I want to multiply this by 2, I've got to multiply the entire equation by 2. So we're going to do that and distribute that 2 to every term. So my new equation, 2 times negative 10x, would give me negative 20x. 2 times 3y would give me positive 6y equals 2 times 1 is 2. Alright, so now we're going to add these together. Negative 5x plus negative 20x is negative 25x. Negative 6 plus 6, they canceled out. And then 23 plus 2 is 25. So x would be negative 1. Okay? Because our goal is to solve for one variable. So now I know that x is negative 1. I can plug it into either one of my equations. So I'm just going to plug it into the first one. Negative 10 times x. So we're going to plug in, substitute negative 1. Plus 3y equals 1. So negative 10 and negative 1 is positive 10 plus 3y equals 1. So bring the 10 over and subtract. So that equals negative 9. So y equals negative 3. So my solution, my point where my lines intersect and have the same x and y coordinate would be negative 1, negative 3. Okay. When you're doing these, make sure you're giving me that solution, that ordered pair, okay? Y'all have to bear with me. My voice, I've got sinuses. Sinus problems. I don't know if I've got sinuses, but sinus problems. All right. So let's go now and look at number 1 here. All right. So I'm looking at my coefficients. I've got a 2x and a 1x. Then here I've got a plus 1 and a plus 1. Well, these y's, if one of them was a minus, would be good, right? So let's just do that. Let's just subtract this. So if I do that, 2x minus 1x will give me x. Y minus y goes away. Negative 4 minus 9 is negative 13. So now we got our x. So now we can substitute negative 13 for x. So negative 13 plus y equals 9. So y equals 22. So our answer is the ordered pair, negative 13, 22. Okay. All right, number 2. Again, we always look at the coefficients and their sign. And we want the same integer, 1 plus and 1 minus. So we've got that here. So we can just add these equations together and these will cancel out. Then 2y plus 4y is 6y. 7 plus 5 is 12. So y equals 2. And then I'm going to substitute 2 for y. So 3x plus 2 times y, or 2 times 2, equals 7. So that's 4. So we're going to subtract that 4. We get 3. X equals 1. So my ordered pair is 1, 2. Now, y'all, I'm going to go pretty fast when it's just solving for a variable. Y'all should be pretty good at that. If you're not, you need to practice. Okay? Practice only makes you better in math. And if you're still having problems solving for a variable, this part here, then you can go back and look on my YouTube channel. There's a playlist of solving equations. You can watch some of those videos. All right, so this one, oh, look at here. My x and y.
Cafeteria.
they don't have them in order, do they? So first, let's write this in the same order, where we've got, this one has X first, then Y. So let's swap places with these two. So it'd be negative 4X minus 3Y equals 6. So all I did was put these in the same order. Okay, so now we're going to look at our coefficients. Well, for my x's, I got a positive 4 and a minus 4, which is what we want. So those will cancel out. Negative 3y plus negative 3y is negative 6y. 15 plus 6 is 21. So we're going to divide by negative 6, so it would be 21 over negative 6. And we can reduce that to 7 over negative 2, which is the same thing as negative 3.5. All right, so now I'm going to go and substitute that in for one of my equations. So I'm going to plug it in the first one, 4x minus 3 times y of 7 over negative 2 equals 15. 4x, negative times negative is positive, of 21 over 2 equals 15. So I'm going to bring this over and subtract 21 over 2. So 4x equals 15 with a denominator 2 would be 30 over 2 minus 21 over 2. 4x equals 9 over 2. So then we're going to divide by 4, which dividing by 4 is the same thing as multiplying by 1/4. So x equals 9 over 8, or 1.125. So my ordered pair would be 9 over 8 and negative 7 over 2. Okay. Those are pretty straightforward. And like I said in class, when you're solving with substitution or elimination, the process isn't difficult. It's just being careful and making sure that you're changing your signs when you need to, that when you're solving, you're doing the opposite. You just have to be really careful. Okay. All right, so look at this one. So looking at my coefficients, those are 1, right? So I need one of them plus and one of them minus, but the same integer. Well, they're not like that. But I can multiply. If I multiply this by 3, that'll give me plus 3y, which would cancel those y's out, right? So let's do that and get a new equation. 3 times 3x is 9x. 3 times y is plus 3y. And 3 times 12, don't forget, you have to multiply it by everything. So now we do away with that equation. This is our new one. And if we add these together, my y's cancel out. So 1x plus 9x is 10x. 24 plus 36 is 60. So x equals 6. Okay, halfway there. So take this and just substitute it in. Substitute x with 6 minus 3y equals 24. So we're going to subtract 6. So that leaves me with 18. And then I'm going to divide by, remember to carry that sign, divide by negative 3. Negative 3 divided by negative 3 is 1y. And then 18 divided by negative 3 is negative 6. So my solution is the ordered pair 6, negative 6. Okay. All right, the next one. We got our x's and our y's. And we need 1 plus and 1 minus. So you can multiply either one of the equations to get that. So let's just multiply this by negative 4. That'll give me negative 4x plus 4x, and they would cancel out. So my new equation, negative 4 times x is negative 4x. Negative 4 times 4y is negative 16y. Negative 4 times 22 is negative 88. These cancel. Y minus 16y is negative 15y. And negative 88 plus 13 is negative 75. If I divide by negative 15, let's see, we're gonna get, what, 5? Okay, now I could substitute y for 5, 5 for y, so let's just plug it in. It's 4x plus y, so 4x plus 5 equals 13. 4x, we're going to subtract 5 over here, so it'll be 8. X equals 2. So my ordered pair is 2, 5. Okay. Ooh, fraction. Okay. What would I, for my x's, negative 5 and 4, their least common multiple, number that both of them will multiply to, go into. So the least for that would be 20. Or this is plus 1/2 and minus 2. What would I have to multiply with 1/2 to get 2? What is 2 half of? 4? 4 times 1/2. Just think about that. 4 over 1. 4 times 1 is 4. 1 times 2 is 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So that would give me a positive 2, right? So let's multiply this by 4. And we'll look at this doing either way, okay? So let's multiply this by 4. I get negative 20x plus 2y equals 12. So that's my new equation. Now 4 minus 20x, negative 16x. My y's cancel out. 8 and 12 is 4. So x equals negative 4 over 16, or negative 1/4. Okay, so that's my x. So now I need to substitute that in. So let's put 4 times x So 4 times negative 1/4 minus 2y equals negative 8. 4 times negative 1/4. My 4's cancel out, and I'm left with negative 1 minus 2y equals negative 8. Oh, and we're going to add 1. So negative 2y equals negative 7. Divide by negative 2. So y is going to equal negative 7 over 2. We got a fraction. Okay. So that would be my ordered pair, negative 1/4, negative 7 over 2. Okay. Let's look. What if we pick something else too? If we went a different way. So instead of multiplying by 4, what if we said, okay, we're going to change this to 20?
Hey, Nurse Sam, I'm sending you a young man to help him get his eyebrow ring out.
Okay. So I want one to be positive and one to be negative. So we're going to leave this negative. So if I multiply this by 4, then that would give me negative 20x plus 2y equals 12. And I'm trying to get rid of my x's. So if I multiply this by 5, that would give me 20x minus 10y equals negative 40. So these would cancel out. Negative 8y equals negative 28. Divide by negative 8. So it'd be positive 28 over 8, which will be 14 over 4, or 7 over 2. Okay. Oh, this is not. We divided by negative 2. This is positive over here. Hopefully somebody caught that, was yelling at the screen. Alright, so 7, 2. We got the same y's. So you could have done it either way. Okay? So whether you decided to do the red way here and multiply both of them, get rid of your x's, or just multiply one of them and get rid of your y's. Either way, you're coming up with the same answers, okay? Alright, let's look at some real-world applications and solve these problems.
Right, can you take a call, Park 1, please?
Alright, so a business with 2 locations buys 7 large delivery vans and 5 small.
Lisa Casey,
Location A
back.
receives 5 large
Could you send me
and
Hayden
2
Clark
small
from the
for,
Spanish?
for this amount of money. Location B is 2 large and 3 smalls for this amount. What is the cost of each type of van? So that's our unknown, the cost of the vans. So we're going to say that X is the cost of a large van, and Y is going to be the cost of a small van. Okay, so let's do location A. They got 2 small vans, 5 large and 2 small. So 5 times the cost of a large van plus 2 times the cost of a small van was a total cost of $235,000. Okay, location B, they had 2 large and 3 small for a total of 160,000. Okay. All right. What do you want to get rid of, the X's or the Y's? It doesn't matter. We'll do either one. How about let's just get rid of the Y's. So we got a +2 and a +3. What's the number that the smallest number that 2 and 3 will go into? 6, right? So my goal is to make one of these +6 and one of them -6. So if I multiply this by negative, well, let's just say +3, that'll give me +6. So for this one to be -6, I'll need to multiply it by -2. 3 times 2 is +6, -2 times 3 is -6. Okay? Alright, so let's write our new equations. The first one here, I'm going to distribute 3 to everything. So I get 15x plus 6y equals 3 times 235. 705,000. Right, now we're going to multiply the -2 with everything. So -2 times 2 is -4x. -2 times 3 is -6y. And -2 times 160,000 is -320,000. Okay. Alright, so now we're just going to add these together. 15 plus -4 is 11x. 6 plus -6, they cancel out, equals 705,000 plus -320,000 is going to leave me 385,000. Then we're going to divide by 11, so x equals 35,000. So what does that tell me? If x is 35,000, we said that x was the cost of a large fan. Okay? So we know what a large fan costs. Now we just need to substitute x with 35,000 in one of the equations, and we'll be good. We can find out how much a small van costs. So let's substitute that in. 2x, so we're going to say 2 times 35,000 plus 3y. Just write the rest of the equation down. So this ends up being 70,000 plus 3y equals 160,000. So we're going to subtract 70,000. So that would leave me what? 80? 90. 90,000. Divide by 3. So a small van costs 30,000. So my solution is 35,000 and 30,000. Okay. All right. These are some equations that you'll see on either Delta Math or iExcel. Okay, write a system of equations to describe the situation below. solve using elimination and fill in the blanks. Okay, Sandra and Connor decided to shoot arrows at a simple target with a larger outer ring and a smaller bullseye. Okay. So
Hey, Miss Annie.
we're going to have two situations, one with Sandra and one with Connor. So Sandra went first and landed one arrow in the outer ring and two arrows in the bullseye for a total of 164 points. Connor went second, got 3 arrows in the outer ring and 2 arrows in the bullseye, earning a total of 220 points. How many points is each region in the target area worth? Okay. Alright, so we've got X is going to represent points in the region. So points, the number of points in the larger outer ring, and Y is going to represent number of points in the smaller, the bullseye area. Okay, so Sandra, let's write her equation. She had 1 in the outer, so 1 times the number of points for an outer plus 2 times the number of points in the smaller region. And she had a total of 164 points. Okay, Connor had 3 in the outer and 2 in the bullseye, smaller bullseye. So 3x plus 2y, total of 220. Okay, so I've got the same integer 2 for y, but they're both positive. So we're going to multiply one of these by negative. And multiply Sandra. We're going to get negative x minus 2y equals negative 164. So give me 2x equals, these cancel, 220 minus 164 is, let's see, it's not 136. 56. Well, let's see. 56. Oh, what is my pen not working, y'all? 6. That would be 56. So x equals 28. Let me just plug that in to another one equation. Instead of x, we'll do 28 plus 2y equals 164. So 2y equals 136. So y equals 68. So the outer ring is worth 28 points, and the bullseye is worth 68. And y'all, I am losing my voice, so I'm just going to write for this next one. So X is going to be the cost, because this last sentence tells us what we're wanting. So we got 245s here. I need to make one of them. Make one of them negative. So we'll multiply this by -1. So that'll give me negative 45x. If you'll notice, I picked the smaller one to put negative. That way it's easier to add them together.
What you got?
So I have my ID on today, and I know I didn't. This is my life today. But it has my freaking Cash App card in it and my mom's card in it, and
Okay.
I can't find it anywhere.
I would recommend first going back to the other classes you've had, and I would also check the front office.
All right, so we found out that the VIP tickets are $151. Wow. $151. We're going to plug that in. So 45x plus 81 times 151. We're substituting for y. So 45x equals, this is 1231. If I subtract that, I get 2475. So regular tickets a lot better, $55. All right. I hope that helps.